I, that's tough to see. Well, thankfully, Meghan has now found the courage to talk about this on her podcast today.
Like I said, I was thankful for the job, but not for how it made me feel, which was not smart.
To climb up on to get to the top of the tree. And I've been fascinated to see the amount of branches that were built.
Oh, come on. Long before Meghan Markle stepped into the royal spotlight, people in her circle were already saying she had a different kind of hustle going on. Nothing wild, but a sharp, calculated way of moving through the social scene.
And little substance. And that's how it felt for me at the time, being reduced to this specific archetype.
While other actresses were stressing over auditions, she was polishing a skill that didn't need a stage, working rooms, reading people, and lining up the right connections with a smile that looked effortless. Forget crowns and shiny tiaras for a second. Folks who watched her rise said her real playground wasn't a palace at all.
Is something that I talked about with the great Megyn Kelly, the host of the Megyn Kelly Show. Find it on YouTube, SiriusXM podcast.
It was Soho House, that members-only hangout for people with money, power, and plenty of time to make moves. And right beside her through every invite, every casual laugh, every fancy night out was Markus Anderson, the guy many described as the man who could flip someone from unknown to everywhere fast.
Markus Anderson is very unique in the Meghan Markle Disposable Friends series because Markus is indispensable.
Let's talk about Markus Anderson, the dude who supposedly climbed from serving drinks to being trusted with serious VIP secrets. Before Meghan ever showed up on the royal radar, Markus had already built himself a slick reputation.
Honestly, there is no end to this woman's deceptive nature, to her abject dishonesty. That's what we're seeing here. She does this podcast with Paris Hilton.
He started out at Soho House London as staff, sure, but insiders swore he wasn't just delivering cocktails. He was delivering charm with precision, and people remembered him for it. Markus had a vibe that made powerful folks feel like he was someone they needed around. By the time Meghan crossed paths with him, he had already reinvented himself from regular employee to quiet gatekeeper of the elite circle. If you wanted access, a lot of people said you went through Markus, and Meghan, sharp as ever, noticed that fast.
She does this podcast with Paris Hilton on how, we've been labeled bimbos. It's so wrong. Meanwhile, Paris Hilton made millions of dollars off of that label, leaned into it robustly, which she discusses in the podcast.
People close to the scene claimed Meghan spotted opportunity the way a hawk spots prey. Markus had networks, connections, and influence, and she wanted to learn everything she could. Soon enough, she was joining trips linked to Soho House events.
But Meghan Markle, you see, won't own it. Meghan Markle wants to complain about being objectified when she was suitcase girl number 24. Like she really thought somebody was going to talk to her about how...
Meeting producers, creatives, executives, you name it. She didn't just meet Markus. She held on tight because she saw the value.
24 actually is the number of genomes in the measles sequence. She had no idea it was just going to be the number of the suitcase she was going to... It's ridiculous.
He opened doors, and she made sure she walked right through with confidence. It wasn't some cute fairy tale story. It was strategy, plain and simple. No crime.
Without Markus Anderson, I hope to prove to you in this video that Meghan Markle wouldn't have the level of global fame that she enjoys now.
Nothing shady, just straight ambition. Some folks even said Markus gave Meghan what Hollywood hadn't, instant social credibility. Suddenly, she wasn't just that actress from Suits. She became someone people wanted at the table. And Markus.
What did she do? Did she run for Senate? Did she try to get a law degree? Did she go back to med school? No! Now she wants us to believe.
He didn't hide from the spotlight either. People said even the strongest power players like a bit of shine now and then. If ambition had a face, some people joked it would look like Meghan with a designer bag.
Or infamy, depends how you look at it. But I really don't think she would be in the position she's in without Markus Anderson.
Moving through the scene with Markus Anderson right beside her. Their bond wasn't about jokes or late-night giggles. It ran on mutual benefit and sharp timing. Markus knew everybody who mattered, and Meghan wanted to grow.
Like, why would she say that? Like, I actually also posed for a saucy picture at one point in my life. I was 40, I was a news anchor, I was pregnant, I leaned in.
Simple as that. Together they turned into a social duo that had people whispering, climbing through elite circles faster than most could process. Markus introduced her to designers, filmmakers, entrepreneurs.
She is embarrassed that she's vain and vapid, and that's why she can't just own those moments.
The kind of crowd that turns someone from an actress into a headline name. And Meghan absorbed everything like it was air she needed to breathe. To her, Markus wasn't just a friend, he was a door that kept opening. He set up gatherings, she worked the energy of the room. He lined up chances, she delivered the charm. Little by little, Meghan shifted from hustling for small roles.
The thing is that because her ambition and her sense of self is that, I should be the senator, the president, she's trying to pretend that these things in her backstory
to showing up beside global influencers like it was nothing. But here's where things got spicy. People close to Soho House whispered that Markus allegedly arranged that quiet weekend trip at Soho Farmhouse.
that she had to overcome like poverty or dyslexia or something. It's like, no, BS. You went to an audition.
The same place Meghan ended up crossing paths with Prince Harry. Coincidence? A lot of folks didn't think so. Markus might not have worn a crown, but people liked joking he played kingmaker better than most. Every introduction.
You said, I want to do this because it was fun to do. But instead she has to, in order to achieve her next goal.
Every moment, every chance meeting felt like part of a bigger strategy. Meghan wasn't depending on luck, she depended on planning, and Markus was her sharpest asset. When Meghan stepped into royal life, many of her old friends faded into the background. But Markus...
She has to turn around and redefine her past. I think people would feel less angry, because I don't know if they'll ever feel positive about it, but less angry if she just turned around and said, sure, I look good, why wouldn't you move on?
He stayed right there. While some Hollywood acquaintances kept their distance from royal drama, Markus somehow slipped into the palace orbit with no title, no royal background, nothing but influence, loyalty, and charm. He turned up everywhere.
Over-intellectualise this garbage like she's trying to win over a bunch of morons at a dinner party. That must have been
100%.
terrible for you.
Right, to have been so objectified. She wants us now to believe that she was standing there waiting to be asked about Bashar al-Assad, and then she found out that 24 was actually the accumulation of everyone's IQ in the room. Like, she knew.
Pre-wedding gatherings, private vacations, dinners behind closed doors. Palace staff didn't know what to label him. To them, Markus wasn't just a visitor or a buddy, he was always around. That's why some royal watchers started calling him Meghan's shadow.
Now, Markus started off at Soho House, London as a waiter, and he worked his way up. Now, this is an astounding story in itself. He worked his way up to global membership director.
People said that every time Meghan popped up somewhere unexpected, Markus wasn't too far behind. He wasn't staff, but he had the presence. He wasn't family, but he moved like someone who belonged. And yes, the royals noticed. Quietly, carefully, and sometimes nervously. Markus didn't follow palace protocol. He didn't bow, didn't worry about hierarchy, and didn't care about traditional rules. His loyalty was strictly to Meghan, and that made a lot of people uncomfortable. Whispers started spreading that Markus still had influence in her decisions, even after she became a duchess. Some claimed he was advising her quietly from behind the scenes. In royal circles, nobody gets that close without people asking why, and Markus...
And his job was to find the best and the brightest of that city to invite to the founding members' party. And they didn't just invite anybody.
always seemed to be right there. Then came the moment that set insiders buzzing. It started with a single whisper, a source close to Markus dropping a mysterious line about his unbreakable bond.
And his silence? Oh, that was the loudest part of all.
In the social scene of the city where they were opening up. Now, it always worried me that all of the biographers that have done books on Meghan Markle, and also a lot of people that have done interviews and magazine articles,
With Meghan, and in the world of royal gossip, one whisper is enough to light a whole firestorm. Within hours, tabloids went wild. Headlines claimed that Markus, Meghan's super trusted friend, had finally said too much. Suddenly, every trip, Every old photo, every friendly dinner was being spun into something dramatic. Palace PR teams scrambled, phones rang non-stop, and stories were getting pulled within minutes. Meghan, already dealing with non-stop press drama, suddenly faced a brand new storm, and this one came from inside her own circle. Markus kept quiet. Not a denial, not a hint, not even a soft, "this isn't true." Just pure silence. And that silence hit harder than any headline because it made people start asking the real question: what did Markus actually know? Insiders said Meghan felt the sting like a deep cut, especially coming from the same man who once helped shape her rise. It was the twisted plot nobody expected. The person who helped polish her image was now the one making her look exposed, and his quiet act only made the whole thing louder. When the so-called Markus leak broke into the press, people inside Buckingham Palace were acting like the monarchy got slapped without warning. You could almost feel the panic jump from London straight across the ocean. Behind those stone walls, it turned into madness. Assistants racing around, phones ringing non-stop.
And so I went for a bit of a deep dive, and I found the Toronto Life social pages. And they reported on the opening night of the Toronto Soho House. And it was very interesting to see who they mentioned in that column.
Everyone wondering how someone from the Soho House crowd suddenly shook the royal foundation. The PR team called it containment, but insiders said it felt more like survival mode. They wanted answers: who spoke, who leaked, and what Markus Anderson might be hiding. Because the way they saw it, if he ever decided to spill everything he knew, the palace wouldn't know where to hide the shine on their crowns. Meanwhile, Meghan's people ran around trying to patch the situation. Soft statements floated around about loyalty, misunderstandings, and long friendships. But it was too late. The world already had its headline: Meghan Markle betrayed by someone once closest to her. And Markus, he didn't post, he didn't show up anywhere, he didn't breathe online. The guy who once couldn't walk into a party without somebody snapping a photo turned into a full ghost overnight. That silence didn't calm anything down. It made everything worse, because in royal circles, silence doesn't mean innocence. It means someone's holding heavy information. The palace wanted the story dead. Meghan wanted it erased, but tabloids smelled scandal, and once they get even a drop of drama, they don't back off. They treat it like treasure. After the fallout, Markus Anderson's name turned into something people whispered, not said.
Prince Harry thinks he's a working member of the royal family, and we all think, what planet are this ever more weird duo on? The answer, of course, is planet Sussex, where goodness knows anything goes.
No one dared mention him publicly, but behind closed doors, everybody knew he'd seen everything. Private dinners, tense conversations, late-night phone calls. He knew what Meghan said when the cameras were off, and he knew her real feelings about her new royal reality. That was the part that made everyone uneasy. Markus wasn't just a friend, he was an eyewitness to her transformation, her stress, her ambition, and her struggles. Old photos started resurfacing. Markus and Meghan laughing at events, travelling together, leaning in close during conversations. Tabloids twisted every shot into evidence of betrayal, plotting, or something deeper. Inside the palace, they didn't call it friendship, they called it a threat. Rumours spread that advisors tried to warn Meghan about keeping Markus too close, especially after private details kept showing up in the media from random sources. Markus didn't defend himself. He didn't clear the air. He didn't deny a thing. His silence became a power move, because when someone who knows that much goes quiet, everyone else starts sweating. For Meghan, it became a walking nightmare. One wrong word from Markus could make her whole royal story collapse like a bad PR stunt. But Markus stayed silent for a while, and that made the world lean in even closer. Then, out of nowhere, years later, Markus appeared again. Not with a book deal or a documentary, but with a soft confession at a private event that mysteriously leaked online. His tone was calm. Too calm. Royal watchers said he didn't drag Meghan, but he didn't protect her either. He dropped lines like, "The truth people believe isn't always the truth that happened," which had everyone whispering translations like, "He knows things."
Is called the bond, the banter, the bravery, what it means to be British. Behind the gilded gates of the Montecito Palace in the Californian sun he shares with his Tinseltown wife.
And he knows we know he knows things. He called Meghan deeply misunderstood and fiercely determined, which sounded sweet on the surface, but many heard something different. It wasn't betrayal, but it wasn't loyalty. It was that careful middle ground that makes people suspicious. Inside royal circles, insiders were heated. They called it calculated.
Yeah, so she's gonna be in the movies again. She's gonna star in a big film.
Damage control. Meghan's critics labelled it a soft confession. And for Meghan herself, reports said she was furious, not because he exposed her, but because he didn't deny anything either. He added haze to a story she wanted buried. After that half confession, nothing was the same. The scandal settled down, but the damage stayed. Meghan's once big circle of influencers, stylists, and friendly faces shrank down to a handful of people she trusted with her whole chest. Trust became something she couldn't hand out easily anymore. Everyone could turn into a leak, a headline, a quiet danger. Markus faded back into the shadows. His comfort zone. No more flashy events, no more cozy photos, no more being the social king. He stepped away quietly, and people noticed the silence even more. The tabloids eventually chased new stories, but the scars never fully healed. Meghan was branded ambitious, strategic, hard to please, every harsh label they could find. And Markus, he became the ghost in her story, the man who could destroy her legacy with one interview but never did. Some called that loyalty, others called it survival, because Markus knew airing everything could blow his life up too. For both of them, this was the cost of ambition. The higher they climbed, the thinner the air, the fewer people they could trust. Once, they were unstoppable, a power duo running through elite scenes like they owned the game. Now they're remembered as two cautionary lessons from the same glittering world that lifted them up and pushed them off at the same time. In the end, Meghan and Markus's tale feels less like friendship and more like a haunting, something that sticks around, follows her name, and never fully fades. He was there before the royal titles, before the dramas, before everything flipped. He watched her grind as an actress, rise as a duchess, and lose parts of herself along the journey. Markus never cashed out. He didn't sell a book. He didn't run to the cameras, but he didn't protect her either. His silence became the biggest message, a quiet warning about what happens when ambition meets pressure and loyalty starts cracking. Meghan chased power. Markus chased access. Together they built a bright image full of charm and illusion, and when it cracked, both of them were left staring at the fallout, pretending not to look back at the wreckage behind them. Maybe Markus held her secrets out of respect, or maybe he's just waiting for the right moment. Either way, the world keeps asking what really went down between them. Because in Meghan's world, every friendship seems to have an ending, and every ally eventually becomes a headline. Markus walked away quietly, but the shadow he left still follows Meghan everywhere she goes. Like, subscribe, share, and drop a comment if you want the next explosive piece.